but the work really has to be twofold. It's your agent and you, because you're making the connections. You're reaching out to people on Facebook and calling and sending out emails, and so are they. And it's really I can't say it enough. It's about being nice. Sure that you're being kind.
Welcome to the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast with Bree Noble. Bree is a musician, entrepreneur, speaker, and founder of Women of Substance Music Radio and Podcast. Bree's interviews with successful female musicians and industry pros are both inspirational and informational. She also answers your questions about the music business. Bree is on a mission to help you create great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business, and to truly become a female entrepreneur musician.
Hey, this is Bree Noble, and you are tuned in to the Female Entrepreneur Musician Podcast, where we talk about making great music, connecting with your audience, and growing your business. And on today's episode, I've got an interview with a true dyed-in-the-wool female entrepreneur, Bridget Kelly. You are going to love hearing from her. She's so authentic. And one thing I got from her interview is how much she absolutely loves her fans, how much she works hard all the time to connect with them in as many ways as possible, and how much she loves the blues. So if you're a blues artist, you're really going to get a lot of great tips from this episode. If you're not, that's okay. You're going to learn a ton from Bridget Kelly just about how she interacts with her audiences and engages with her fans. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her in a minute, but first, I want to tell you about the sponsor of today's episode, Muddy Paw PR. This episode of The Female Entrepreneur Musician is brought to you in part by Muddy Paw PR. Through their highly personalized public relations campaigns for DIY artists, they've secured placements on Alternative Press, Substream, New Noise, and more, with their artists going on to play festivals like Warped Tour, So What, and gain licensing deals and regular rotation in stores like Starbucks and Hollister. Find out more at muddypawpr.com. Now, here's some information about my guest, Bridget Kelly. The Bridget Kelly Band is an electronic blues band that rocks the house with a unique blend of hot, smoking blues. Their new CD, Blues Warrior, was just released on June 1st, 2018, and is deeply and personally important to Bridget. It was inspired by Me Too and covers issues such as homelessness, domestic violence, human trafficking, Cabrini Green Chicago Project's demolition, and heroin addiction in young adults. Their most recent CD, Bone Rattler, released May in 2017, charted on the RNR Electric Blues chart at number 1 for over 6 months. Here is my interview with Bridget Kelly. So that's a little bit about Bridget Kelly. So Bridget, is there anything about you that's maybe unique, quirky, something that's just a little bit different about you that's not mentioned in your bio?
I guess I would say that it's the relationship between me and my husband, Tim, who's the guitar player, that we're so close and we gravitate towards others in a loving way. I find that to be probably my quirkiest thing.
Well, it sounds like a great thing for sure.
I like it a lot. Yeah, that's my mission statement is to, it's not about financial or it's not even about the art as much as it is about connecting with people and being loving to others.
I love that. That is great. Tell our listeners how you got started in music.
Well, I started as a child just being so interested, and my mother was wonderful that she liked all music and shared all music with me, and I was signed up for piano lessons when I was 6, but I remember mostly being 4 years old and listening to Neil Diamond and telling my mom that someday I'd be on the radio. Yeah, and so she ended up kind of helping me in that genre and signing me up for things and that, like I was in a little play when I was young, but then I came across Florida folk. And I ended up playing in the Florida folk circuits for quite a bit. And eventually Tim Fick came across my path and he told me, he said, "Bridget, you should be a blues singer." And I said, "Oh, no way. That'll ruin my voice, playing in front of a drum." And he's like, "Oh, I'll go out and buy you a $10,000 PA." And he went out and bought me a PA. And then he had me sing with the PA, and I said, okay, I can do this.
Oh, that's cool. So why did he think, what did he hear that made him think you needed to be a blues singer?
I think he liked the texture of my voice, and he identified it with, other blues artists. I know I was singing with just my guitar in a pizza place, and he came to listen, and he said, I can work with that. He goes, you have a great sound. So I believe it was, something he heard personally, because I frankly didn't hear it. I did not think I would be a great blues singer at all. I felt that folk was my wheelhouse. I'm more melodic. I'm Irish. I sing storytelling. And so it was really an odd concept for me all the way around to jump into the blues. And I have been happy as a clam ever since I made that choice to say yes.
That's so cool. Now, were you also writing? Did you totally change your writing style then?
The writing style became more exciting because Tim and I collaborate. What will happen is when we write, it's an interesting process. We will just start playing a song with the band. And then from there, we'll either record it, or at that moment, I'll sit down with a pen and paper but it's very collaborative. And like Tim and I'll have an idea and he'll redline it, and then he'll have an idea and I'll redline it. And it's really a exciting and fun process.
Now, I've never written in the blues. Does it start, since you're saying it starts with a band, does it tend to start with like a riff or a chord progression?
Ours does.
Okay.
The way that we write. I'm writing a book as well, and it's called Flirting with Death and Other Fine Stories. I go up to my cabin. I have a cabin up in Georgia, and I'll just sit and write and write and write. But that is not how I write the best songs. When I tried doing that, out came a folk song that we couldn't even use. So Tim's like, no, we can't put that on the CD. It's too folky. I'm like, drats, okay, let's try again.
That's funny. So at this point, do you consider yourself a full-time musician, or are there other ways that you make money, whether that's, from music-related things or not?
I am a full-time musician. However, I'm very blessed to own a small Montessori school with 45 students. So it's directed and managed by a wonderful person who's been there for over 30 years, Teppa Harrington from Samoa, and then my daughter, and the two of them run it, and then I just can go off and play music.
That's really cool. Well, I got to find out, how did you get started with a Montessori school?
I used to work at the Milwaukee Journal, and I was an advertising Girl Friday. I would cut out ads and type on a correcting selectric, and I had to type up all these ads and cut out with rubber cement and then run them up to the newspaper guy, and he would take them and print them. And I saw a little tiny ad that said Montessori teacher. I was going to school at the University of Wisconsin for fine art. I got my bachelor's in fine art in sculpture, and I ended up applying and got the job, and I've been there ever since.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. So, but it's great that you then now have the ability to go out and do your music and not to have to worry as much about. So I'm assuming that's like recurring income that you can fall back on.
I almost want to cry thinking about it because it is so fantastically wonderful that I'm so blessed, and I can't. I almost feel like every single thing that I have done has set me up for music. Like even I used to work for Gillick Murphy, Gillick Bird and Wicht, and it was attorneys. When I was like 17, and it taught me phone skills. Every small thing that I have done has set me up for the gin rummy of music.
That's so true. Like, I don't think about those old jobs, when I used to work in accounts receivable and had to call people up and, ask them for money and things like that. Like, how did that translate into, calling up for booking calls and things like that? I hadn't really thought about those connections, but it is true that everything that we do in life really translates eventually into something that you're doing now. You just, good or bad, right?
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense. So we have a lot of struggling musicians listening to this show that really want to make it to where you are. Do you have any stories that you can tell about the days when you were struggling and it was hard and you were banging your head against the wall, wondering if, I should just give up on this, and how you pulled through that and what you learned?
I think every single time I am about to give up, which it's not often, but you are there, musicians, I like when I went to Milwaukee and I went to the hotel at like 2 a.m. and it had been closed because there was prostitution. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing here? Stuff like that makes you want to give up. But every time I'm about to give up, something happens that's so encouraging. Like maybe someone will say something to me, or I'll get a big festival, or every single time. And so to be aware and to look out for those golden gems that keep you going. The other thing is, if I smile through anything, they call me the smiling girl of the blues, because when I'm singing, I'm so happy that I just keep smiling and smiling. And people have come up to me and said, how can you smile when you're singing the blues? And it's like, I can't not. So smiling through adversity and then being aware of the gifts that keep you going.
Yeah. Do you have any way or ritual that you keep to remind yourself of those golden gems when you're frustrated? Like, I know I tell my students to keep a testimonials file, or what do they have different names for it? Like, happy moments, or, a pick me up or something like that file to look at when you're really frustrated.
I don't really have that, but what I try to do is every morning when I wake up, I take just a moment to meditate, and I have these readings. Like I have a Cherokee book of days that I read, and that's super cool. I like that book a lot, and I do. I'm not the best at meditating, but I take a moment in the morning to think how lucky I am. Every morning I try to do that.
That's a really important practice, I think. Gratitude and just realizing like where you are and what you've gone through to get here and how happy you are that you're there. I think that's really important. And I know that I'm not the best meditator either, because it's hard for me to sit still for very long, but I think it's really important practice for sure.
Yeah, I can't sit still either. I try. We have Mark Armbrecht. He's like a Zen master, and he's our bass player, and we call him the band Buddha. He gives me so much advice on how to just be happy and grateful. So he helps a lot too. He's a good guy.
That's nice that you have somebody like that to ground you, when you're touring and stuff.
It's true. I really like everyone in the band. When we tour, there's 3 guys and me. And I always say, I don't live alone. I live with 3 guys in a van.
Yep.
That's true.
So you guys have won a lot of awards and gotten some really great chart positions and done some really big festivals. Like, what has been the most mind-blowing experience that you've had out of all that you're like, pinch me, I can't believe this is happening to me?
I think there are 2. The first one was I was trying to, cut a CD when I met Tim. And he brought me under his wing, and he professionally cut the first CD, and now we're on like our 6th. But when I first heard the songs that were professional and they were high quality, I just burst into tears, because I couldn't imagine getting there, and there it was. First thing I did was run down and share it with my mom, which was really awesome. And then the first festival that was huge, where we had 3,000-4,000 people, when we booked it, I was in Milwaukee, laying in my sister's guest room, and I get a phone call from a festival promoter, and this was probably 2012. It was the Bradenton Blues Fest, and it was for the appetizer, and it was Greg Herndon. I remember that call, and I just went, what? Yay! It was awesome.
Ugh.
I was thrilled. And I still get thrilled. Every festival, we did Northwoods Blues. We're doing it in 2 years. And every festival that I get a call for, I'm like, festivals are the bomb, because they're just a big party.
Now, do you go out and pitch to those festivals, or did they find you?
A little bit of everything. You won't believe it, but a lot of my connections are through Facebook. Not like they don't pay me or anything, but and I have a booking agent, Doug Tackett from Road Dog. He connects with festivals, but a lot of it is personal connections. Like a guy will call me, he met me over there, and he'll say, oh, we have a festival over here, and here's the promoter. And then I call them. It's through the people, the people you meet and the people that you fall in love with. That's where you get most of your shows and festivals. Is, if you're a grumpy Gus, forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Forget it. You just have
they
to
know that you're going to be smiling through the blues, so they're going to call you.
That's right. That's what I hope for.
So you mentioned that you have a booking agent. Like, have you always had one, or did you do your own booking for a while? Do you kind of do some of your own and have him do some? How does that work?
It was a interesting journey, and new musicians can, feel this, because at first no one wanted to talk to me at all. And I was working with, I would get a booking agent, and then nothing would happen. Like, I had one booking agent for a year, got one show, and I did all the rest. And then I got a booking agent in Jersey, 2 shows for a year. It was like crazy. But Doug is fabulous. We've just signed on with Road Dog in January, and between the two of us, it's been boom, amazing. But the work really has to be twofold. It's your agent and you, because you're making the connections. You're reaching out to people on Facebook and calling and sending out emails, and so are they. And it's really I can't say it enough. It's about being nice. Sure that you're being kind.
Well, and I think that's an important point too. Like, you don't just get an agent and go, okay, that's taken care of. Like, I don't have to do any booking. You are still constantly making those connections and reaching out, and that's just going to make your agent's job easier and your job easier to work together.
Yeah, and I think that some of that is the fun of it, because we play Darwin's a lot, and I love the owner, Lindsay. She's like an amazing, wonderful, strong woman who's running her own business in Atlanta in a mostly male-dominated, she's running a blues club, and she's amazing. And so I enjoy talking to her too. So she does as much for me as I do for her.
Absolutely. So since you mentioned that, like a woman in a man's world, like, do you find as a woman in the blues world, is it more male dominated? What's kind of the state of women in music in general, in your opinion, and then maybe in the blues sector?
When I first started, I wasn't aware of it at all. I didn't even think of it. Well, then I came across National Women in the Blues, and they gave me insight. They gave me that aha moment of, hey, wait a minute, that festival is all male. Hey, wait a minute, they're only booking men. And what they have done is they have educated me in a way that I can make a difference. So, like recently, I saw a festival that was all male. So I called the promoter and I said, women in blues is a buzzword. If you have a festival with all men, that's going to make you look really, really bad. I said, you don't have to call me or hire me, but at least hire a woman. And then that festival ended up doing a whole Sunday Women in Blues and hired like 4 women. They weren't even aware of it themselves. So yeah, making a difference, being aware, putting yourself out there and saying, hey, you have an all-male festival, or you're only hiring guys, hey, let's make this fair.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like, sometimes maybe they're just not aware, and to not be like, go in like with this anger mode, but, say like, did you realize that how this is coming across? Because I had this experience once too, where I saw that somebody was doing a virtual summit, and I literally was like, oh my gosh, this is all male speakers. Like, what is up? So I actually wrote to them and I said, I'd be happy to promote this, but my audience is all female, and I just can't promote this to them because you have no female speakers. Do you realize that? Exactly. And they wrote back to me and they're like, we've been trying to get some females and we couldn't find any. They're like, would you like to speak? And I'm like, totally would,
Absolutely.
Representing. So, you never know what's going to happen when you do something like that.
Yeah. And then it just makes me feel good as a person to be aware and to try to make a difference in that area. I mean, when I was little, there was Helen Reddy, Hear Me Roar, I Am Woman. And my mom was a feminist, and she she worked with, unions, and she was just this really strong woman. And I realized that I thought it was already changed.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, oh yeah, that's so 70s. That happened a long time ago now. And what's happening is I'm like, wait a minute, in the blues genre, it's really not changed yet. And so I'm having a big Women in Blues concert May 20th here in Gainesville. There's 17 blues women who are coming.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge event. And I feel like they have their moment to shine and a voice. And I'm usually a part of the one in Memphis in January as well. So, Women in Blues is a big thing. It's a big buzzword, and I'm excited about it.
That is so great to hear. So any of you listeners that are in the blues, connect with Bridget, because I think that's great what she's doing and working with that organization. So are there any kinds of gigs that are your favorite that you love to perform at?
I like intimate shows, and I like festivals where you can, in an intimate room where you have 40, you can almost reach them with your vibration. And the big festivals, we're playing with Robert Cray September 1st.
Oh wow!
I'm excited about that. It's so exciting. There'll be 3,000 or 4,000 people, but that's just titillating. I mean, that's you get goosebumps just looking out and smiling out there at everyone. Yeah, so festivals are a blast. They're a hoot. They're fun. I'm the type of person that after I'm done with my show, I will sneak out to the audience and kind of, mosey around and talk to people. And they'll look at me like, what are you doing in front of this? But I like to connect.
Oh, that's great.
I feel that that's so important.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I know that you've had a lot of chart success in the blues genre. How has your chart success translated into getting more fans? Have you found that it actually brings in fans, or it just kind of solidifies oh, I'm so glad that I follow this person because they're getting popular kind of thing?
I think chart success is important in a lot of different ways. One, promoters and booking, purchasers of your talent, they really like to hear that. Two, I think that chart success makes you a heavy hitter in your colleagues and in the godfathers of the blues, so to speak. The people that are mentoring or who are aware of you. And the other part of it is that it's really fun to talk about. Hey, I was number one for 6 months on RMR.
That is fun to talk about.
Yeah. But I've been very lucky in that as well. I think what's really important for new musicians who are trying to get chart success to make sure they find somebody who's a radio publicist, and when your CD comes out, have them help you, because we did fairly well on our own in the first couple CDs, but Todd Glaser, he lives in Alaska. He has done amazing things for us in that way, but not just him, but other people, and talk to people and ask them, who do they think is a great person for that? Because it's important to do it as a team.
Yeah, no, I agree. Getting that exposure and them having those connections and stuff is a big help. Do you have any advice on how to get to the right person? If you're a musician starting out and you don't know anybody that's having really big chart success, so you wouldn't know who to ask for the good radio promoters. There's so many out there that are just blah, just
right.
Either scammy or just do the bare minimum.
Google the Blues Foundation, connect with them. They're very helpful. Also, National Women in Blues will help women artists. And also check out people that have won Keeping the Blues Alive awards. The Blues Foundation presents those to successful people who are trying to keep the blues alive. So we knew that Todd was a cool guy because he had a Keeping the Blues Alive award, but we also met him personally. Another really important connection thing is to go to the Blues Music Awards if you're able, or to the International Blues Challenge, because that's a huge networking thing where you will meet people and talk to people and you can ask those questions. I'm a big fan of the connecting part and the networking part of the International Blues Challenge.
Yeah, I know you guys have won a bunch of awards there. Has that helped you connect with people because you're more visible?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Totally.
that makes complete sense.
Yes.
So you said that, you love to go out during a show and talk to the fans. How else do you like to connect with them? Like, what is your way of connecting with them online?
We have a huge social media presence. I'm a Facebook queen. I mean, I'm probably on Facebook anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's crazy. But I do it on my phone and people bing me. They're like, da, 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 and I'll be like, hey, yeah. And they'll contact me or message me. And Tim does a lot of the like Django or Spotify. We're on the Grammy network where we talk to people that way. It's important if you're a musician and you to try to get hooked up with the Grammy network because there's so many wonderful musicians you can talk to. But yeah, social media is the bomb. I can't imagine doing what I'm doing right now before there was like computers. It would have been very difficult, just like a dark hole.
Did you, when you first started on social media, because I hear this from artists all the time, they're like, how do you get that engagement going when you're a new artist and, you have like 100 people on your Facebook page? Like, how did you get that moving?
Well, I started from that 100, or actually I had like 0. And I just kept liking and reading and liking. I'm lucky that I read very fast. That's a big talent on Facebook and on other things. And what you do is just like, and you start talking to people, and you also like other bands' pages and follow them. You can see where they're playing and maybe attend one of their shows, or just really reaching out to people. It's fun.
So you recommend reaching out through going to other bands that are similar to you and kind of engaging their bands that you like.
And I do it on even their personal pages. Like I'll try to friend request. I have 5,000 friends on my first page and another couple thousand on the other. And here's the thing, Facebook caps you.
Yeah,
so
I know. I'm at
I'm
at my limit too, and I'm constantly like, okay, do I know this person? Let me unfriend them so I can get more people.
Don't unfriend me if we're ever
I will never unfriend you.
I already love you and like you. Yeah.
So Facebook is your main. Do you do Instagram or Twitter or any other ones?
All of them.
All of them.
I do all of them, and I like all of them. I'm constantly talking. There's this crazy guy named Lou Brutus who is on Instagram, and he cracks me up on a regular basis. And he is the program director for Sirius Radio, and I really believe that any aspiring musicians should definitely follow him on Instagram because he's hilarious. Him and the Wonder Dog.
Oh, that's really good to know that those people are actually there having conversations on Instagram. People that are the gatekeepers to important new levels to our career.
Yeah, and like one of my dearest friends is Tony Coulter, and he also has a show on Sirius. And like we started out just talking on Facebook, and then we ended up having dinner. And he's a sweet, wonderful guy. Realizing that people in power, so to speak, are wonderful people. They're just nice people. Like you just reach out to them and not being afraid of rejection. That these are real genuine folks.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I'd love to know about your streams of income. Obviously, this show is the Female Entrepreneur Musician, so I want to help people know how they can make a living from music. So if you could just give us an idea of like percentage-wise kind of how your streams of income break down, whether it's live shows, merch, streaming, that kind of thing.
That's the most difficult part of my job. Last year, I recommend this, is we became the Bridget Kelly Band LLC, and we have an accountant, and we lost $20,000 on our band. But let's think about this. It's branding. And part of that is that I'm kind of bougie in my desires for sleeping. A lot of it is hotel and gas, and we drive 2 vans instead of 1 because I want to have enough room, and we'll stay at Airbnbs instead of staying at, the hotels that are closed and all that. But the income, it it's really important to make sure you sell your merch and don't sell it for too cheap. For a while I was selling my CDs for $10 and none of them sold. I bumped them to 20 and they're flying off the shelves.
That's so funny.
Yeah, same with t-shirts. Make sure you give yourself enough quality that you're presenting as a quality band. If you go in and say only $5 for my shirts, people will say we don't want them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have to give yourself the right value. You have to brand yourself with making sure that your product is great and has great packaging and not looking homemade and things like that. But we get CD sales, we get festivals are really awesome. They pay very well. You know, shows coming in, just doing a regular show like, at like the Barrel Room or somewhere, that also is part of our revenue. Working a lot. Our summer tour is really coming along. We're going to be going out on a 8-week tour to support Blues Warrior.
How many shows would you say you do a year?
Oh, geez. Probably 150 to 200 shows a year.
That's a lot of shows. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We have probably, if we have 60 days on our tour in the summer, we're probably looking at right in the summer, in those 8 weeks, doing at least 50 in the summer. Because we do a show almost every day.
Right. Wow.
On tour. And
do you get any licensing deals for your music?
Tim takes care of all of that. I'm not sure about that information as far as licensing. I know that we have we're connected with BMI.
Right.
Yeah, all of that.
So you're getting all those royalties in that way.
Oh yeah, and I think if I were more diligent in it, I would get more royalties.
Well, when you're doing like 200 shows a year, it's hard to be diligent in everything and on social media 6 hours a day.
That's true. And that helps because when I'm riding, not driving, in the van, there you go.
Yeah.
6 hours available.
Yeah, seriously, that's true. On tour, you can multitask because you're just sitting there in the car.
Tim wrote a song called Cell Phone Blues that I was married to the phone.
Oh,
that just goes to tell you.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm a little bit excited about Blues Warrior.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
This CD was inspired by the Me Too movement, and it became a little bit more of me listening to the music through the headphones and writing. But I wrote about human trafficking, and there's a song called Stolen, which made my mom cry. She can't listen to it anymore. I wrote and then what we did is we put the numbers for these particular items underneath for the helplines.
That's awesome.
I'm excited about that. I'm going to cry talking about it because there's so much on this CD that is for women to try to help women and be a strong woman. No Good Man Blues is about domestic abuse. Let Go is about when you're being controlled and you're just, you know how it is when you get that icky feeling because somebody is, particularly a boyfriend or a husband, is controlling you and you're like, ugh. So I wrote that song. Snowfall was written because my girlfriend Patty Parks from Buffalo, she is in charge of Nurse and Blues, and that's about heroin addiction and using blues to help. And I use the word snow and fall in two different words. Nameless Nobody was a song I wrote about homelessness. I was walking home from the Daytona Blues Festival, and I was by myself in the middle of the night. Why did I do that?
Oh, my gosh.
And I walked across the bridge in Daytona over to Daytona Beach, and literally there were human beings wrapped up in tarps, sleeping, homeless, against the bridge so no one could see them.
Oh, my gosh.
And from Florida, you see a lot of the signs that, help me, I'm homeless. No. And then the last song, which is so dark, it's more of a blue. It's definitely rock blues. It's called Chemo. And that song was written after I watched my good friend Candy Kane fight cancer. And I dedicated that to my grandmother and my aunt who died of cancer and she ended up dying of cancer as well. But that song is only 2 verses. And the first verse she's fighting and the second verse she dies. So
wow.
It's a really definitely a heart-wrenching blues, almost dark, make you ache CD, and it's coming out June 1st.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that just sounds like every song belongs on Women of Substance. I mean, we did a Me Too series of shows, and it was just like, I almost couldn't take it. Like when I was listening to the songs, which ones I was going to choose, I was almost like, I can't even handle this anymore. It's so emotional. So this sounds like the whole album is an experience, something that you need to brace yourself for a little bit, but then something that's going to really stick with you.
Yeah, it almost makes my stomach hurt.
Wow. It's going to be amazing to do that on tour every day.
Hopefully I won't sing all of those songs because some of them are almost too raw to play. Although I have to say, I went to a Joan Osborne concert when I was young, and I asked her to play Crazy Baby. Do you remember that song?
Mm-mm.
Look it up. And she goes, I can't sing that one. Why? She goes, I cry through it. And I went, I get it. Oh my
gosh.
But we put in a funny little song called Honeybee, which is like making honey in the bed. You know, that will, if you get too dark, you can always go up. That's number one. So you could go listen to that again.
Oh, that's good. You can always go back to that one between the others.
Yeah. I think I'll just feel good for the first song and then bottom out on the rest of them.
Oh my goodness. Well, obviously you've learned a ton over the years through experience, but have there been any resources that have helped you learn how to navigate all this music business stuff, whether it's books, blogs, and then even anything in like this self-help or motivation area?
There's a bunch. Rick Lusher took me under his wing. He's a publicist from Atlanta, and he was not even my publicist. That's what's so crazy about it.
Wow.
He sent me email after email after email to help me, giving me lists and telling me what to do and what not to do. And he's an angel. He's my angel. And he never asked me for money. He did it out of the love and kindness of his heart. The other one is National Women in Blues. They have helped me tremendously, showcasing my talents when I was brand new, taking a chance on me and giving me advice. And then, of course, the Dr. Fick, who is Tim Fick, the guitar player, he is a 50-year veteran. He started playing guitar when he was 8.
Oh my gosh.
He's been signed before. He's done everything. He's had many, many years of experience, and he just knows the know. Like I really don't know where I'd be without him. Like I can't imagine. I do not think I could have done this alone. I would have had to. Someone should call me, and I'll tell them. My phone number is a public band number. If anyone has questions, call me. It's 352-870-7656, and it's posted on Facebook. It's a band phone. It's not private. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. I will help you in any way I can.
Wow, that's very generous. So on that note, like how can people connect with you, find out more about the new album, your tour, where are you how are you going all the way across the country, by the way? What's your tour kind of area?
We're literally hugging the East Coast this time, and then next year we're going through Oregon and down the West Coast, so it's a kind of a twofold, event.
What are the dates of the East Coast tour?
We start out May 31st, and then we get back August 2nd.
Wow.
And we'll be hitting Minneapolis. We're going up to Buffalo. We're going to go up to Maine. We're going to go to Canada. We'll be coming down, hopefully, looking at South Carolina. And we got an Atlanta date coming back down. And we got some Dubuque, Iowa. I keep a running total of all my dates on the Bridget Kelly Band Facebook and on our website.
Perfect.
www.bridgetkellyband.com. Anyone can find us there, and you can reach out to me, and I'd love to talk to y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget. This has been so great. You've shared so much insight into, what you went through coming up, and you just like make me feel like I could do it. Like if I was starting from the beginning, listening to your story makes me feel like I could do what you did. So that's really inspiring to our listeners. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And absolutely you can do it.
See you guys, you can do it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Now go out and make great music, connect with your fans, and grow your business. Female Entrepreneur Musician has been brought to you by FEMusician.com and FemaleMusicianAcademy.com.
with editing by Jen Eads of 317 Sound Design and music by Stella Ronson.